Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the FewTrueGamers podcast. My name is Jacob Bestintherealm Hodder. I'm joined today by Trollbeard.
Hello.
And we're still missing Bob. He's off doing adult things. So
Boo.
we're gonna continue the tradition of just being nerdy children.
Yeah, just giant man children.
Exactly, man children. Speaking of man children things, let's just go ahead and get into it. There have been some awesome trailers come out of Comic-Con, and I'm so happy that you watched them too.
Yeah, thankfully, like I said, we had just kind of had a pregame there of planning out what we were talking about, going over some things. But first of all, I just want to say, holy fucking shit, did McAvoy get jacked?
Are we gonna start with Glass?
I just that was the thing that stood out of all of the little trailers I watched, and I saw that there were some more things for some of the Warner Brothers TV shows I don't watch.
Yeah.
A bunch of trailers for those, and apparently behind closed doors they showed a extended scene of the new Halloween.
I'm excited for that too. Yeah, both of those.
Yeah, those
good.
two I'm interested in, but I haven't watched Split, and
really?
I haven't watched Unbreakable since it came out.
So we watched Split like a month ago, but I haven't seen Unbreakable. But this is really, really making me want to see it because Split was amazing.
Yeah, I know you and I have both talked about it before, our enjoyment of the kind of funny community and a lot of their stuff. But yeah, it is one of those things where if you had watched Unbreakable at the time, it was just a cool movie with some interesting ideas and didn't completely suffer too much of the M. Night Shyamalan tropes
right
of the time. But, thinking it now, once you've seen a whole lot of the other, superhero movies of the time, it's just a really dark kind of, what if this was the real world kind of scenario.
Pretty much.
And, so they talk about, the movie kind of opens up with Bruce Willis waking up in the hospital because there was a train crash that killed hundreds of people, and not only is Bruce Willis the only one that survived, he's not injured at all.
Right.
And then, here's Samuel L. Jackson's character is hunting him down because he's like, if I, am completely broken at the easiest touch, there's got to be the opposite of me out there.
Right. Who's someone that's unbreakable.
Yeah. So yeah, the more I look at this and I just see fucking McAvoy.
Yeah.
Just a savage.
I think the fact that they focused a lot on the McAvoy's character, on the Split character, is pretty smart because Unbreakable came out a little while ago, and I don't think it did particularly well, but Split did very well.
Yeah, the thing with Unbreakable is that it was financially successful because it was, a smaller, not super expensive to make movie. That was kind of the thing of, M. Night Shyamalan became this guy who could just keep shelling out movies that would make their money back just on his name alone because they were small, inexpensive projects. It's kind of like the Blumhouse model.
Yeah.
Because there was this one he produced. I don't think he actually directed it. It was called The Devil.
That looked interesting.
It was the people are trapped in an elevator in a skyscraper, and one of the people in the elevator is the devil. I was like, what?
Yeah.
I just remember a friend of mine when that movie came out. I never watched it, but I asked him, hey, man, how was it? And he just, in silence, stared at me like I had just, walked in, shit inside the cartridge slot of his N64, and then smashed WWF No Mercy in there and shit on top of that too while I was at it. He was like, I have not been so disappointed and so unhappy in my life. I was like, you need to
Damn.
relax, man.
That's how I felt about
Okay.
The Village. Did you ever see that?
I uh I know all about it. It's one of those movies where like there's a bunch of them in my life where I don't remember if I ever watched it personally or
Right.
if I just, walking through when that movie was in like syndication on like different spots, I would see chunks of it here and there.
Man,
And
that's
then,
that's how I feel about the Rocky movies. Because I swear to God, I've sat and watched those, but I don't really remember a lot from them.
well, I mean, here's one of those things where like the look at in my boss's face when I told him I wasn't sure I had actually sat down and watched like start to finish any of the original trilogy of Star Wars movies.
That's pretty wild.
I know everything about those movies,
Right,
but I can't guarantee that I, went from intro to credits on any one of the three movies
right.
to the point to where like I know so much about those stupid movies that, drunkenly against a friend of mine who's a massive Star Wars nerd, I used to beat him all the time in the Trivial Pursuit Star Wars edition. I clowned him out every time, and this guy literally was rewatching these movies. Like he would just do lines of coke and watch all three of the Star Wars
Jeez.
movies, like on the original DVD release of the CG enhanced versions,
Right.
which is an interesting idea now that currently there's no other bidders going in for Fox for Disney to buy them up for their movie division.
Yeah.
Is that Fox, owned the distributorship of the original versions of the movies, the theatrical versions.
Really? I didn't know
So,
that.
yeah, because those movies were distributed by Fox originally back in the
Oh.
70s and 80s. So anytime you would watch those movies, they have the old 20th Century Fox logo
Yeah.
right before the star crawl. But yeah, so that'll be interesting if they ever put out the original theatrical versions again.
Oh, they will. They like money. They'll do it.
Yeah, you give some fucking dorks like my boss
Yeah,
the
and people will
goddamn.
watch it in fucking that tiny box with big black bars on the side. It'll look terrible on their giant TVs, but it'll be so good. I will never watch
Well,
a movie like that.
they have like the original like uh widescreen film like versions of those.
Oh, I'm sure. But they'll release them in that original format that they remember watching it on.
Well, I would imagine that'd probably be an option, not the only
Yeah,
choice.
I would hope
Because
not.
I'd imagine if they're going through the trouble of releasing those again, it'll be 4K touch ups because they did like the remastering on the film before they added the special effects on the original releases.
And shit, they take footage from Vietnam and World War II and give it color and make it beautiful and everything. They can definitely do it with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think that's what Peter Jackson's been doing for the past few years is colorizing old war footage
Really?
like World War II, World War One stuff.
I mean,
I
that would
remember
be pretty
coming across.
fascinating to do that.
Yeah, I remember coming across something about him doing that, and I was like, much like the old fucking dork he made his career on the movies of Lord of the Rings, he's also obsessed with World War II, I guess.
Yeah. It's an interesting time period.
Yeah. But yeah, going back to Glass, now that we, non sequitur our way, through like 10 minutes or so. But yeah, I'm really interested of because I know people that have hated every M. Night Shyamalan movie, and the only ones that guy likes are Unbreakable
Right.
and Split.
Yeah, yeah, but people like that are just annoying. Like, oh, it's M. Night Shyamalan is gonna be terrible. Well, you're
Yeah, I
you're
mean,
stupid.
I mean,
Avatar was not as good as it could have been, but was still an interesting and neat looking movie. The
well,
Village,
I honestly, I don't think that guy watched Avatar
he
because,
didn't. He admitted to it, which is the most infuriating part. If you're gonna be mad at anything, be mad at that.
hey man, sometimes you sign up for a project, a studio hands you over a spec script, and you see just some artwork, you're like, oh fuck yeah, I fucks with that.
Right. And The Village was good until the end. Shit, what else has he done? Sixth Sense
So
was
Signs,
amazing. I don't think I ever watched Signs.
Signs is one of those situations where like it's this really interesting movie up until the end.
Oh, okay.
And then also there's the worst one I would probably say of his ilk, The Happening.
Yeah, I just saw that. Yeah, Devil, Lady in the Water,
Blade in the
Stuart
Water was
Little.
weird.
Excuse me.
I think he wrote the script for Stuart Little and someone else directed it.
I'm looking it up right now. That is hilarious.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff where you come across like writers or directors doing other projects that make no sense.
See, director. Yeah, The Happening, The Village, Signs, Unbreakable, Sixth Sense was amazing. Wide Awake, I remember that. Writers, I got The Devil. Oh, yeah, Stuart Little, he wrote the screenplay. Holy
Yeah.
shit, that's funny. And then all these
Well, it's
other
like
wild. Yeah.
there's a writer and a director, John Milius.
Okay.
He's one of those guys where like most people don't immediately recognize his name,
Yeah, I don't.
but then you go look at his IMDb, he's like low key a savage as far as like the career this guy had. So let's see, all filmography. He wrote. Let's see, he wrote Red Dawn. He wrote Apocalypse Now.
Damn.
He wrote the original Conan the Barbarian movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Mm-hmm.
He wrote Magnum Force, like the best Dirty Harry movie.
Shit, he wrote Homefront. Supposed to be a good game.
Yeah, like the story's cool. None of the none of the mechanics were that
Right.
great. It was an odd mix of trying to be like Battlefield at the time, but without the depth. But yeah, also you go look at his directing. He directed, some really cool stuff way back in the day.
One episode of Twilight Zone.
But he directed the Dillinger movie from '73. Is that the one with
Yeah, a lot of that stuff I'm not too familiar with, but well, I've heard
yeah,
of.
like there's so many small people. There's a bunch of other stuff he's uncredited for that a lot of people have talked about. He did, and yeah, it's so weird. It's like Paul Verhoeven,
Yeah, I know that
the
name.
guy who did RoboCop. He did
Okay.
Starship Troopers. He's just he's this crazy Dutch guy that has a lot of violence and sex in his movies.
Nothing wrong with that.
But he also has a couple of odd things in his career you come across. You're like, really? He did that?
Yeah, that's gonna happen. And a couple more trailers came out of Comic Con. I am actually very excited now about Aquaman, and I did not think I was
Aquaman,
gonna say
like,
that.
yeah, I saw that trailer and I was like, that might be enjoyable.
Yeah, thank God we're getting away, at least in the DC movies, we're getting away from that like really dark bullshit that I just don't understand why they were going that way.
Well, see, now the biggest problem I have, like it became a meme, the situation with Martha.
Yep.
So the biggest problem there to me is that for how long that movie was, they still try to do too much,
Yeah.
and the impact of a situation like that, was never established, and then immediately it turns into, hey, we're buddies now.
Yeah.
But you think of the psychosis of a man who's in his 40s is still going out there and risking his life. He's a crazy person.
Yeah.
Here's this guy that to this day, 40 years later, he's still haunted by this one thing that drives him eternally, to the point to where if you say his mother's name, like he would react that way. Like there's power to that reality. It just immediately became meme worthy because there was no there was no establishing, centerpiece to that. And then it's like, I'm a friend of your son's. It's like, really?
Yeah, that movie was just all over the place, and I've only watched that movie once. I immediately realized like that was cool to see this in a movie, but it was not done very well. Like it was
Yeah.
kind of upsetting. And I was just watching a video earlier today. I think they were talking about like Comic Con reveals or something, and they showed that scene, and I was like, yeah, that's a weird scene. Like it's just like almost uncomfortable. Where it
Yeah.
was like, Martha, why'd you say that name? It's his mom's name. Like, what?
Yeah. Like I said, it was handled poorly, but the concept is very, very powerful. Like this guy can still fucking break like that 40 years later. Like it's still such an open wound for this man emotionally. That's the reason why like he's pissing blood half of his life from internal wounds.
It's just
And
so silly.
yeah, like I said, it was handled poorly. But like the idea isn't bad originally. It was just, a very flawed execution of the thing. Also, with this trailer, like the biggest thing that stood out to me as somebody who immediately kind of lowered his expectations
Yeah.
for the DC movies going in was, why the fuck has the CG been so terrible
I
in
don't
all of
know.
these DC movies?
Is it running out of money?
It's like they spent like $250 million on like Batman v Superman, I want to say. Like they spent an idiotic amount of money
Yeah.
on a lot of these movies. And then you get to like the end of like that Batman v Superman, is like, oh no, it's all dark. So they can hide the
Yeah.
horseshit while they fight the bad guy. That's all CG.
And like I can't bring myself to watch Justice League, but just the parademons and stuff, they don't look good. Well,
No,
Steppenwolf
like
does not look good.
yeah, the end of Wonder Woman almost ruins that entire
Oh,
movie.
I keep forgetting Wonder Woman exists. I haven't seen that movie yet. I
Like
want to though.
it's cool. The problem is like Wonder Woman is such an just an okay movie,
Okay.
but because it's actually cohesive and it has a powerful message for the people that care about that message, that it stands so far above like the
Sure.
bitter disappointments all the other DC movies is, it gets way too much credit that it kind of doesn't deserve, because
Sure.
that movie is oddly paced. The entire like last act of that movie is really dumb, really bad CG fights, the entire last part, but it just has these really good moments that stand out, and that's kind of like the only things people seem to care about or remember and talk about. So they're just kind of like glossing over the hideous, terrible parts of that movie.
Yeah. And like I hate it whenever they pick a really obscure villain. Like even with Ant-Man and Wasp, they picked that ghost character. I'm like, who? And with Wonder Woman, they picked that poison. I can't remember her name, like Doctor Poison or something. And I was like, who?
Well,
Like,
the new Wonder Woman movie, like the primary antagonist I heard them talk about is Cheetah.
yes, which is awesome. And I
But
love that's like her primary antagonist. Period. That's her Joker.
yeah, the Wonder Woman movie that came out, the main bad guy is Ares.
Right, but they didn't show that in the trailers.
Yeah, and then when they do show it, you're like, there's a reason they didn't show this in the trailers.
Oh damn.
Like there's this like scenario of where like my mild spoiler, but I'm not gonna go into super details
That's fine.
just because I want to describe the weird thing. So like the big bad guy they think they've been chasing this whole time, who's like getting involved with the Germans because this takes place in like World War One, I want to say.
Yeah, I think so.
Uh, I think that's the war they're in. But anyway, they hunt down this guy that they think is Ares, but it's not. And she starts to fight this guy, and they're in like a control tower at like an Air Force base, and her sword is on the roof of this thing, and there's just a random poorly edited cut of for some reason they showed her like walking out and jumping on top of the roof just to get a sword to drop back down. It's like, what the fuck? Like, it's one of those things. Like, if you see that movie, and I tell you, like, if you're getting close to the end, it's like, hey, look for the retrieving the sword. It
Right.
stands out so bad. It's like so much of that movie really has to do with some rough edits.
That sucks.
Like so some of my biggest problems in that are just random bad editing in certain spots. To like, I still just remember like chuckling, and this woman that was sitting near me in the theater when I saw Wonder Woman was just giving me death stares because she was one of those older ladies who, as a younger kid, had watched the Linda Carter TV show
Yeah.
as a massive Wonder Woman fan, and I'm just giggling at like, why the fuck did they have to show her like walking out, jumping up, grabbing her sword, and jumping back down? It's so bad. Another weird fact going into gaming: Linda Carter's married to one of the CEOs of ZeniMax.
Okay.
That's why she's been the voice of like most of the female characters in Skyrim games, in the
Didn't
Elder
even
Scrolls
know that.
games. Yeah, she was the like the lounge singer character in Fallout 4, and then like almost every female Nord you talk to was the OG Wonder Woman.
Huh. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah, random tidbit there.
I've actually watched that show a bunch with my stepmom, and it's actually pretty good.
Yeah, that's the weird thing about the old like Wonder Woman and the old Incredible Hulk shows is like they're awful to look at,
Yeah.
but they had the wonderful benefit of being anthologies. They're not
Right.
necessarily all like a continuing narrative.
Yeah.
They had the benefit of you just being able to just tell a cool story with this character for this episode and move on.
And I hope, and I think they are, but I hope DC does that because I know they're talking about there's like 3 freaking Joker movies being made right now for no
Yeah.
damn reason. I would
Oh,
love it if DC or Marvel would do some of their what if, or one of them's what if and the other one's something else.
yeah. The Marvel
Yeah.
properties were what ifs,
Okay, and then
but
DC.
they have fantastic tales or something like that in DC. I forget, but they also had their other realms.
That might be
I
what
want to say,
it's. Yeah, something like that.
yeah,
Like
because
like
like
Gaslight
the
Batman and stuff like that.
Gotham by Gaslight, and then the one where Batman is a vampire.
Okay, didn't know about that one.
Uh,
Oh wait,
yeah,
yeah, I do know. Never mind. They had the animated movie. Uh,
yeah,
yeah, I can't remember what it's called. Their animated movies are fantastic. If they would just take the team that works on the animated movies and have them make the live action movies, they'd be set.
yeah. You know, the crazy thing is it's been pretty much the same team on those for like 10 years.
I believe it. It
It's
shows.
been like the same director, the voice director Andrea Romano, who was like the OG of voice direction for animated properties since like the late '80s. She was the lady who did all of the Batman the animated series,
Okay.
Animaniacs, like all of the old Warner Brothers stuff, and like the Justice League cartoon, Justice League Unlimited, Young Justice. She retired. She just recently retired, like last year, earlier this year. She had a massive health problem,
Oh,
and so she said, "Fuck it,
yeah.
I'm set for life. I'm gonna go try to live the rest of my life." I think she went blind in one eye,
Oh, damn.
and there was like some surgery to kind of fix it temporarily, but the condition she has, it could just happen again randomly and be completely blind for the rest of her life. So I think she was just like, "Hey, I'm an older woman now. I've had an amazing career. Like,
Yeah,
she has so many goddamn Emmys. Like,
I
it's
bet.
fucking idiotic."
That's why I just
But
have boxes of them now of all the other Emmys.
yeah, like she literally would joke around that she would dress her Emmys up in Barbie clothes. Like, she has that many. She just
Jeez.
puts them in doll clothing.
Oh god, they sent me
But
another one.
yeah, that's the only person really that's not like still part of that crew is Andrea Romano. But they have been doing this cool thing of giving a lot of different people shots as Batman and some of the other characters,
Yeah,
because it really was for the longest time the set, Mark Hamill, Kevin Conroy, like the original animated series voice cast did a lot of that stuff.
and they do a good job. And
Except for that Harley Quinn movie was
I didn't see
really
that.
bad. The Batman and Harley Quinn, it was odd. Like, Harley Quinn fucks Robin in a semi-rapey scenario.
Oh god.
Well, like it starts off in a very non-consensual manner, and then Robin's like, "Hey, she's hot. Let me smash."
All right. Yeah, I've missed the last few.
Yeah, that one's really weird because there's a lot of like musical numbers in that one too.
Okay.
Yeah, so like um, there's this character who's singing a song. They walk into a bar, and then she has this awful like punk song she's singing on the stage. Is like a favorite of the guy she's trying to get information from. It was just awkward. But the Suicide Squad movie they did was actually like really cool
Yeah,
because it
Assault on
was,
Arkham was really good.
yeah, the Assault on Arkham and the one just recently
Again, they should have just
where,
done Assault on Arkham in live action. It would have been great.
yeah,
Instead,
like
we got
so
that
many
weird
fucking
shit.
people die in that newest Suicide Squad one. Like
That's
what's
how
his
it
name?
should be.
Christian Slater is a Deadshot in that.
Okay.
And yeah, like I said, almost everybody dies.
I mean, hence the name.
Yep.
Makes sense.
But yeah, that that Aquaman movie, I still got some issues with a lot of the things, but ironically enough, Jason Momoa isn't my concern with that movie.
Yeah, I know some people don't like him, but I think he makes a great Aquaman. I like Jason Momoa though. I think he
Yeah, like
plays a convincing Aquaman.
I was kind of unhappy that the Conan the Barbarian movie he was in wasn't more successful.
Yeah, I just saw a trailer for that. I might watch that. 'Cause I've heard it's pretty
Yeah,
decent.
it's from a few years back, and like if you ever read any of the Robert Heinlein like stories,
No, I've never read that stuff. I just seen the movies.
yeah, like he is exactly what that character was described in the books. Like they could not have been more literal to like his style.
Right.
And yeah, just that movie drags on in some weird parts towards the
Oh.
end. But no, it nails the aesthetic. Like they hit most of the cool parts of why anyone ever liked that character to begin with.
Yeah, I think it's weird that they come out with some of these fantasy movies that do all right and they like have a cool aesthetic. And then it's like, well, Conan, you can just make a Conan movie, and they somehow screw it up. It's like you had such a built-in thing, you just didn't need to add anything to it or just not make a crazy story. You can make just like a basic story about Conan, and they still fuck it up. They do that all the time with
Yeah.
properties. You didn't have
Yeah,
to
some
reinvent the wheel. You just had to make a wheel that looks how we expected it to look.
yeah, because I mean, speaking of wheels and Conan, before he passed away, Robert Jordan, the guy who wrote the Wheel of Time series, giant fucking dork series of books, he also in his career wrote some modern day Conan stories that were all
Okay.
really good. And yeah, like you don't have to do much work to tell a Conan the Barbarian story because so much of like the basic premise outside of the weird, like the weirdness that is fucking the original author of those books to the odd fact that Vincent D'Onofrio starred in a rom com about that guy's life.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a what?
Yeah, that's bizarre.
Yeah, like the writer of the story like was like this sickly guy who lived with his mother into his 30s in like rural Texas for most of his life.
Oh,
And so
Sheldon.
like so in his like fever dreams of his youth, he dreamed of an Ubermensch, like a Superman.
Okay.
And so he dreamed up this whole like fantasy world that was actually like that was the premise behind the Conan stories is that all this stuff actually happened in the past. It's just so far back their records are gone.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, like there's so much weirdness behind the idea of Conan, and I love a lot of the Frank Frazetta like artwork that was on a lot of the cover pieces for a lot of the books back in the day.
Right.
The yeah, man, I love those books. They're just dumb. It's just a
I'm surprised you
guy
gave
with a
away the game
sword.
then.
Yeah, the Conan Exiles. Fuck that
I
game.
guess that's just a survival game. That's not really a Conan game.
Yeah, it just happens to be in that lore in that world. But then it's just a bunch of guys just running around with their loincloths off, chasing you with their dicks out,
Pretty much.
basically.
The other trailer that came out, speaking of dicks, and not a good segue. Don't know
You
where
said a
I'm going with
mouthful.
that. Yeah, right. Is the Shazam trailer, which is another showing that DC is taking themselves less seriously and just making a cool
And
movie.
are they though?
What do you
Like,
mean?
oh my god! Like so much of this trailer is just really awkward.
Well, I think
Like,
Billy Batson is awkward. The whole character is awkward. Like, there's so many
yeah,
situations where it's like they talk to him like an adult, and then he says something ridiculous. It's like, damn it, that's right. You're like 12 years old.
yeah, because that's the gimmick is that nobody in the Justice League for so long knows he's actually a kid.
I think
Which,
a lot of them didn't know, but
yeah,
also
like
I'm talking. I read not sparingly. Like I'll read graphic novels. They seem to mostly know.
yeah, it depends on
Yeah,
what story you're in, what era, but predominantly, like Martian Manhunter and like a few other people know because
sure.
Martian Manhunter can just read his mind. But yeah, it's I don't know, this movie makes me think of the movie Kick-Ass,
Okay.
but PG-13
Yeah.
and not as good.
Oh, I don't know. I'm a big Shazam
Like,
fan.
no, I love the character. Did you play the first Injustice?
Oh God, yes. I'm a big Injustice fan.
Yeah, that's the really fucked up part about poor Shazam in that game is that none of the people in that continuity know Billy Batson's like a little kid,
Right.
and the way he gets treated in that story
Yeah.
makes it really dark.
This trailer, I want to see this movie so bad. I
Yeah,
love
like
that
I'm interested.
they're putting it on YouTube, or at least they're recording it and shit.
Yeah,
And like he's just on a
I,
half pipe, and it's just
I like the random floss dance like it's Fortnite when they do.
yeah. Like, and your phone is charged, and your phone is charged. I don't know who that bad guy was. He's like, oh, you're the bad guy.
Yeah,
But I think Black
it's
Adam is the bad guy. It's The Rock, which I'm so excited for. He's gonna make a
yeah.
great Black Adam.
Also, going back, I think the thing that really triggered like the idea of that movie Kick Ass was that the bad guy you saw in this trailer was the bad guy from Kick Ass, Mark Strong.
Okay.
I was like, really? They even use the same guy and like a lot of the same premise, like a guy and his buddy filming him trying to become a superhero.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Well, okay.
To the whole like convenience store scene, except he doesn't get beaten into a damn near coma in this
Right.
movie.
Yeah, I
He just
know
throws a guy through a window and walks out with some sodas.
they had they showed an image of him drinking a bottle from that 6 pack, and people
Yeah.
were freaking out like, really? He's gonna drink beer? I don't think he's drinking beer. I think he's drinking soda.
No, I think it was clearly like purple. It was like grape soda.
Yeah. I don't think they would do that.
No.
If they did, it would be like he took a sip and spit it out.
Yeah, it'd be like, ugh.
Yeah, that's what it would be. It wouldn't be this kid all of a sudden like, I have a taste for beer because I have a bigger body. Like, no,
Yeah.
shut up. People are so
Yeah,
dumb.
this looks like the bastard child between the movie Big and the movie Kick-Ass.
Sure. Yeah. Add a little Superman in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'll be a lot of fun. And
It's the most questionable of the trailers I watched. Like this is either gonna be bad but enjoyable or actually just enjoyable.
and then like the most bizarre thing is DC's their TV shows have been very lighthearted for the most part with the Flash and Arrow, and there are dark bits to them. And then they come out with this trailer for Titans, and it looks kind of freaky and really dark. And I don't know how to feel
Yeah.
about this.
Yeah, with the other like the Warner Brothers like the TV shows, it's been the same guy, kind of like a Kevin Feige,
Yeah,
who runs all those shows.
and it's pretty obvious. Yeah,
Yeah, there's a continuity of tone and style. They each have their own fit to how they work, and it makes sense, when they cross over. But yeah, this I don't know who's involved with this. It's clearly not Greg Berlanti.
this is like I think you were saying before the show. This looks like a fan film.
Yeah,
It
to the
really
point to
does.
where there's a guy Ismahawk
Yeah. Oh yeah, I love Ismahawk.
that did an entire like Nightwing fan film or
I
whatever.
haven't watched that. I've heard it's really good.
But yeah, this kind of looks like not as good version of what that guy did in his with his with his
Yeah,
friends, pretty much.
because usually Ismahawk stuff is fairly well written. One thing I thought was really weird about this trailer is there's a lot of fucking blood in it. Just like
Yeah,
all over the place. People dying and getting their throat slit, and I don't know, man.
and Raven eating the souls of people.
I just don't know about that. And like he says in the trailer, "Fuck Batman." Like, why? What the hell?
Yeah, like I mentioned before, it's probably the Jason Todd version.
Well, she talks about the Flying Grayson, so it has to be Dick Grayson.
It has to be Dick Grayson. Yeah, well, you got to think there was a reason why Dick Grayson broke off to become Nightwing in the first
Oh,
place.
absolutely. But well,
So
I don't know. He's Robin in this,
yeah,
so apparently
until
that
he
hasn't
grows up,
happened
I
yet.
guess.
Yeah, I don't know.
Hmm.
He looks like he's a detective or something.
Well, I mean that's kind of what Batman was before
Yeah.
they started throwing him in every other story. It's like the weirdness of popularity, changing a character. Like at one point, Spider-Man or Wolverine was in every fucking goddamn series in Marvel.
Right.
Batman just started showing up in everything in the 80s.
Yeah, I thought Robin looked pretty good in that trailer. Raven looked all right. She kind of played a convincing Robin or Raven rather.
Yeah.
She was a little too, I don't know, too she or rather she wasn't angsty enough. Like Raven is very, yeah, sure guys, let's do this. And that girl didn't strike me as that at all. She
Yeah.
struck me as a little bit more of an outgoing weird goth girl, which I don't know. And then Starfire was like a chunky black lady, didn't even look like a girl. She looked like an older woman.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell to make of the whole thing. I think we saw
It's
Cyborg.
it'll be interesting. It's a streaming show anyway, so unless you're going out of your way to try out the DC streaming service.
It better be good, man. I mean, I'm not gonna get it unless they put some really good shows on there.
Which they have, I think, 4 shows
Is
that
it
they're
that
rolling
many?
out through the course of the first year.
Okay. Titans is obviously
Because
one of them.
they have Titans, they have another live action show, and they have
The last season of Young
new se-
Justice.
they have the new season of Young Justice, and they have according to the description, I want to say it was like an adult oriented animated Harley Quinn show.
Okay.
So yeah, I forget what the other live action show was, but yeah. So over the
Oh,
course of a year, they're only rolling out like
yeah, and
4 original series.
I think they're also gonna have HD of the Batman animated series,
Yeah,
which I want to watch that. Um, I don't know. I don't think I'm gonna get that DC streaming service unless this Titans show turns out to be amazing. But in that case, I'll probably just get my stepmom's because I'm sure she's gonna get it.
yeah. The other thing about their service is they're incorporating like rotating greatest hits of the comics as well.
Yes, which is cool. That might. No, I'm not still not gonna get it. It's like because
Yeah, I
Marvel
mean,
has
not
that
not.
too, and I don't get that.
Well, I used Marvel Unlimited for a couple of years.
Okay. See, I think Comixology is better because you get Marvel and DC stuff, you also get everything else.
Yeah, but you don't get the size of the catalog of Marvel.
Yeah, that's
For
probably
the most
true.
part, basically the way Marvel Unlimited works is like if it's like 6 months old from the point you're trying to read right now, it's got the majority of the entire library.
Okay.
So like
Yeah,
stuff that's new print gets added in there within 6 months.
that's a long ass time for comic books, though.
Yeah, but if you're not actively reading
Yeah,
and you've got like a year or two to get caught up on, and you've got your choice of everything from the fucking 60s till now.
Yeah, you do have a lot to read. I feel that
Yeah,
way about Comixology, but you have a lot of other stuff. But you know what? This isn't a comic book podcast. Well, it's not a
yeah.
movie podcast either. But here
We're
we
we're
are.
just, we're just we're just dorks, and the one adult isn't here.
But also, it's Comic Con. There's
Yeah,
there's gonna be some Division 2 news, I think, or at least a panel. So I'm looking
yeah.
forward to that.
What's her name? Andrea Renee is hosting that.
That's right. But the last
Uh,
trailer. Go ahead.
I was gonna say they also showed off a new trailer and that new PS4 for Spider-Man.
Yeah, I'm trying to go kind of dark on that just because I don't have a PlayStation 4.
Yeah, like that's the thing that hurts me so much. The times I've talked to you and Bob is like there's so much shit, especially this generation of Sony. You guys have both missed, and
Yeah,
it hurts me. It hurts me a little. Like,
it's
oh
possible once I get my house and everything. That's a pretty good chance I'll get a PlayStation 4. So I'll be able
yeah,
to play a
it's
bunch of stuff.
yeah,
I've
because you
never played
could.
The Last of Us.
I mean, I love that game, and I can't wait for the second one. But that's one of those games where it's a one and done experience because
Yeah,
it's so much that journey through. It's like if I were to try to replay Journey
another game I really want
from
to play.
yeah, didn't they put that on PC? I want to say
Did they?
yeah. Well, Sony published a couple of games on PC. I
No
know they
idea.
put out Helldivers on PC. I don't think
Yeah,
they did Journey because they had a remaster of it. Like
and
when it came
Helldivers
to
was okay. I also didn't have anybody to play that with, so.
yeah, I love that game. Let's see.
Well, before we get too far into games, let's talk about one
Yeah,
more trailer. Because this is the one I'm the most excited about, and it's Godzilla, King of the Monsters. Holy shit, get hyped. This movie looks so fucking rad.
yeah. It's like I told you because you hadn't watched the most recent Godzilla movie,
I need to. It's just one of those things. Like,
and
I love these monster movies. I haven't seen the new Pacific Rim either, which I don't think I missed anything. But the new
did you see
Godzilla
the first?
movie, yeah, I saw the first one, absolutely. But I need to see the new Godzilla movie, and I need to see Kong because I love King Kong.
Yeah, Kong Skull Island was like a weird Vietnam movie stuck inside of a King Kong movie. Like it
Well,
was.
I don't think I knew that they were tied to Godzilla until I was watching a YouTube video, and Kong is mentioned on the Godzilla. There's like a lore website right now for this movie, and Kong
Yeah,
is mentioned in it. I was just like, what? Like, they're in the same universe?
yeah, because the next movie after this, like I had told you, is a King Kong versus Godzilla.
That's too exciting. Holy shit.
Because yeah, at the onset and at the end of that Kong Skull Island, you see some cave art of the monsters you see in this movie in this trailer.
Look at this. Look at Mothra. Oh my god. That's so fucking cool. This is it, man. This is it for me. Like, fuck DC. Like, they had their chance. This is my next big thing I'm excited about. I am mega excited about the next Avengers movie. I love everything Marvel does. Now I have a second franchise. Freaking, they could have done it with the Dark Universe too, with Invisible Man and all that stuff, but they fucked that. This is it. This is the next big universe thing, and I'm so happy that it's the monsters, that it's the Godzilla monsters.
Yeah,
God,
I
Mothra
mean,
looks cool.
I wonder if they're going to do the weird, like, shrine in a box, tiny Asian women. I don't think they will.
What? What are you talking about?
You don't know the ritual to summon Mothra?
I guess I don't.
The,
This is
the
what I'm saying. I've watched these movies and I'm gonna watch them again, but like I don't. I remember the monster fights and stuff.
Yeah, so like I'm a massive OG Godzilla dork.
Okay.
So that if you watch the original black and white Godzilla movie, like that movie is such an oddly poignant commentary on nuclear disarmament.
Right.
Like it's actually like super subtle with how blatant it is. Of like, okay, here's the Earth is sending its guardian to stop us from killing ourselves with nukes, basically,
Right.
because it was made in a country just a few years after
Right.
they had thousands of people killed by nukes.
Look at King
It,
Ghidorah. Oh
yeah,
my
but
god.
anyway, so much of like the weird spiritualism of like traditional Japanese folklore goes into a lot of the Godzilla stuff before it gets into the weird space aliens and that lore. But Mothra is summoned by these two twin priestesses
Okay.
that are like fucking like
Well, I
tiny.
think they're doing something with Mothra in this movie. I think they are
Well, you
maybe
see like the
summoning or
like the
creating or
like the kid here, like the little caterpillar head before it hatches, I
yes.
guess. Like you see that like weird James and the Giant Peach like bug head coming
Yeah.
in towards him. But yeah, so like these two little twin priestesses are in like this little tiny shrine box, and they have like their arms crossed across their chest, and they're calling out to Mothra, and that's how you call Mothra to fight.
Huh.
Yeah, like uh something else I always wanted to talk to somebody about. And I know you've always been a wrestling guy. Did you ever look into Kaiju Big Battle?
I have a friend that wrestles for them.
Yeah, it's like, man, it's I only saw like a little bit of their stuff, but
That's
I
all
just
you
I
need to
just
see.
appreciate I just appreciated their gimmick.
Yeah. Yeah, here's the larva thing.
Yeah,
Now everyone's saying not everyone. Well, I've read some stuff online that says they don't look that good. I think this looks cool.
yeah,
I
they that like the thing I told you was my problem with the first Godzilla, and they did a little bit better job Kong Skull Island.
yeah.
But like I said, like I have never seen such amazing like landscape CG work to then just have like this not as stellar characters in front of it, and so it really made it stick out.
Dude, I need to make that my wallpaper.
Yeah, the giant Mothra
Oh
spread
my
open.
god. And one thing that didn't I guess it didn't occur to me. Maybe I didn't really see Rodan. Maybe I missed that movie. I know of Rodan. I didn't realize that was Rodan right here. I was like, that's weird. Mothra's on top of a volcano.
Yeah, the big pterodactyl motherfucker there.
I'm willing to bet it's Rodan fighting Godzilla and they have to call in Mothra and then King Ghidorah just fucks everyone.
Yeah, because see that's the thing. Like King Ghidorah is sent from outer space in the old movies.
Okay.
Yeah, like
I'm gonna have to
there's this
rewatch the
whole
old ones.
there's so many,
Yeah.
and there's modern era ones that have real bad CG mixed in with the ridiculous costume stuff. But yeah, there's this whole like race of aliens that look just like us that are trying to send the monsters here to kill us off so that they can take over easily
Okay.
without having to do the dirty work. There's time travel involved in some of the movies. Like
Hmm.
it's not too dissimilar to a lot of the uh the masked hero shows,
Masked hero
the common
shows?
like Common Rider, like
Oh,
like
oh, okay.
like Power Rangers.
Yeah, Beetleborgs, all
Like
that stuff.
like if you had watched like the original series, like when I was a little kid, when the first Power Ranger series came out in America, they just took like the original choreographed fight scenes from a Japanese show and then had some kids like film some shit in like Vancouver as interstitial.
Right.
now over the years they've since had that crew come over like in their off season in Japan, film the shit up in Canada as well for like the American versions of the show. But
Yeah.
some of those masked hero shows get fucking dark.
Yeah.
Like like people are raped, people are murdered,
Kamen Rider in
there's
particular, right?
suicides. Yeah, like there's been so many branching varieties of those shows,
Yeah.
but much like Godzilla, like you can go down that rabbit hole over like 40 years of that genre. And then you get into like Ultraman, when
Right.
Ultraman and Godzilla had a crossover. Like I'm pretty fucking nerd heavy in a lot of Japanese shit just because I've been an anime guy for 20 something years.
Right.
But even then, like there's some of that stuff like you've got to be dedicated to.
Yeah, my entry to Godzilla was actually, I think it was it just called Super Godzilla on the Super Nintendo,
I think so, yeah.
where you like march through the city. It was almost like a turn-based. I think it was turn-based combat, wasn't it? Or you had to let your abilities charge up. Did you
Yeah,
ever
you had to
play
do
that?
certain things to get your like your death ray breath or whatever.
Yeah, but you fought Mothra and King Ghidorah, and I saw a great comment on Reddit is someone was saying like, oh well, for the next one they can just say like, oh Godzilla's too powerful. Now we're gonna have to make a Mecha Godzilla, and holy shit, please, I would love a Mecha Godzilla movie.
Yeah, this reminds me of um did you ever play War of the Monsters on the PS2?
What was it?
War of the Monsters?
War of the Monsters. That sounds super familiar.
It's like a arena brawler of you're all these different like trope giant monsters in a city and you're just beating each other up. So there's like a King Kong analog, there's like a Godzilla version, there's like a giant eyeball monster, and you're just running around just beating each other up. And there's random like military like tanks and stuff on the map. You would smash. You could pick up the tanks and throw them at your people.
Huh, this looks cool.
Yeah, like there's the giant mech guy. But yeah, there was a whole scenario of games for a while there where like throwing like radio towers as spears and impaling people.
Yeah.
Because like War of the Monsters did it on the PS2. Um, Prototype, the original Prototype, was real big on it. The best game that's ever been made of a video game or a comic book property outside of the Arkham games, The Incredible Hulk Ultimate Destruction, which was made by the guys
Yes.
that did Prototype.
That was a great game.
That game was so good for how bad that story was.
Yeah.
Like the mechanics of that game were just so fucking amazing. But no, like this was just like kaiju fighting in a
Yeah.
video game, and now there's a game coming out soon. I'm trying to remember. That's basically just the mecha version of this. Like it's just giant fighting robots and like weird. I want to say it's like, god damn it.
See, there's all the Gundam games.
No, it's not like Gundam Breaker or whatever. That one actually looks interesting because that's I think that's the one where it's the Gundam toys. So it's like Toy Story Gundam fighting each other. Like it's this whole weird anime as fuck. You're going to a school for people that are really good at making gunpla, which is like
Yeah.
Gundam plastic, like garage kits
Yeah,
of all
I've seen
these
the
like.
show. It's actually pretty good.
So yeah, there's the game where you're using like the toy versions of these Gundams to fight each other. So if you break off like a piece of the other guy's thing, like you can put on their arm or their gun. That one looks interesting, but I'm gonna say what in the world? Override, Mech City Brawl. That's the game I was thinking.
Okay, Mech City Brawl.
Override is the, you know.
Got it.
This looks like, as soon as I saw it and I saw all the comments just
Oh,
like hype, it looks like that game War of the Monsters, just HD, but with just mechs and no kaiju.
right.
You're just like beating each other up in a cityscape and picking shit up, throwing it at each other. This game looks like it could be interesting if it's done well.
Yeah. And like the Gundam games are all kind of too simple, too kind of dumb, I guess. The
Well,
Super Nintendo
there's a
one.
couple versions of the Gundam games because there were the ones that were super simple and super dumb, and then there were the ones that were like insanely specific button inputs, almost like fighting game,
Yeah.
like response times. Like the most recent one before Gundam Breakers
It's
was
Gundam
like
Versus.
idiotic. Yeah, that one was insane if you got into an online lobby of people that knew what the fuck they were doing. Like you would just get
Oh, look, there's
murked.
a monster. Oh, there's a bunch of monsters.
Yeah. I liked the idea of, did you see the 4-player co-op mode?
Yeah, do they all control one or one?
One leg
That's
or one
crazy.
limb. So player one's left arm, left leg, right leg. I can
That's
imagine
coming out
that
soon.
being like an overcooked level of rage
Yeah.
inducing.
Yeah, there needs to be more games like that. Like oh, what is that? That one game. The Lovers in a Dangerous Space Time. Yeah, Lovers
Lovers in
in a
a Dangerous
Dangerous.
Space
Yep,
Time.
that's a great game. Me and my
Yeah, I
buddy that I do the wrestling podcast with actually did a video in that, and it's actually fantastic.
yeah, I got that game for free buying a discounted like 3-month code for Xbox Live, and I didn't have anybody to play that with.
Oh, that'd be infuriating.
Yeah, actually, the like the little AI component actually worked really well. It was just I lost interest in it so fast because I didn't have somebody else playing.
Oh, sure. Yeah, that's how I've been with some games. Like Borderlands was that for me. I didn't like playing Borderlands by myself. I know you did extensively, but yeah, games like that I just can't get into. But
Go out there and
it's just such a silly
Bor-
game.
yeah, Borderlands by myself. Like I told you, when I was playing that, I was like I didn't have home internet,
Yeah,
so not only was I playing it by myself, I was playing on a very poorly unpatched version of it.
yeah, you're more patient than I am.
Yeah,
But so I think we can go ahead and get into what we've been playing this week. Because I made good on a promise I made. I think last week when I said I was gonna play Prey, and I played the demo because it's on sale right now on Xbox for $15, and
yeah,
I think I'm gonna get it.
yeah.
Cause
Prey is like one of those things where I talked before about the beauty of it teaching you this organic.
okay, so you've played it.
Yeah, I played through it entirely,
Okay,
and I was really sad that the Moon Crash DLC wasn't standalone because I don't own the game anymore. I sold it to a friend of mine because I had a physical copy on the PS4 I got super cheap, and then I was able to sell it back to somebody else for like $30. So they got it super cheap.
yeah,
It was just like a nice little pass around that copy of Prey, but man, I loved the game. It was just like the ending is polarizing for a lot of people because it just kind of rushes to an end.
yeah,
And I think that's part of the reason, like the way the end of production on that game wrapping up, I think is part of why I think the guy's name is Rafael Colantonio. He was one of the main guys at Arcane. I think that's why he left the studio. Was like the reaction and the success of Prey. and just he's also made so many of these types of games for so many years. I think he just wanted a break because he had
Yeah.
made he was like head designer, I want to say, on Dark Messiah of Might and Magic, first
Okay.
Dishonored, and then this game. Like he's been stuck in immersive sim, story games like this.
Yeah, man, this has got heavy. Oh wait, what did you just say he worked on?
Dishonored.
Dishonored. It's got heavy Dishonored vibes.
Yeah, because made by one of the guys that made
Yeah.
Dishonored.
Yeah, and it made by Arcane in general.
Yeah.
But at the beginning of the game, like, and slight spoilers here if you're gonna play Prey, but it happens in the first few minutes. I haven't made it that far because of the next game I'm gonna talk about. But you when you go through the whole test, and then like the crazy shit happens, the thing attacks the doctor, and then you wake up and it's like it's normal, and I was like, that's oh, what? That's really
Yeah.
confusing. Okay. And I think I might actually replay the beginning tonight to show it to my fiance because she likes stuff like this. And so like that's very confusing. Okay, so I go out, you find the wrench by the dead maintenance person, and I'm just kind of wandering around. And does it tell you what to do? Because I don't think it did, or I
If
missed it.
you, I mean, if you stand there long enough,
Okay.
I think your brother calls you,
Oh, I didn't get that.
and uh, like if you're just roaming around aimlessly, haven't gotten out of the simulation, we'll say,
Yeah.
then I think he gives you a heads up.
Okay. Yeah, because I get the wrench, and I'm kind of walking around. And I was like, oh, I can collect stuff now. I'm gonna go in these other apartments. Oh, they're locked. That sucks. I bet you there's a way to get in there. So I'm kind of walking around thinking I'm being clever, like I'm gonna find a key or something. And I had the wrench, and I was like, I wonder what happens if you smash this. Oh my god, is I'm not outside? What the fuck?
Yeah.
Because you
Yeah,
smash
that
the
whole reveal.
window. Yeah, you smash the window thinking you're gonna like break open a window and go outside. Nope, you're still inside, motherfucker. It was absolutely terrifying. Like, I'm so glad I didn't have anything spoiled for this game for me. Like, I just spoiled it for some people. But,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Well, I
that
mean,
was
the
a really, like, startling moment. And it wasn't even
yeah,
scary. It was just like, what the shit?
yeah, because like they do such a good job within the narrative of that game and the presentation of selling that
Yeah,
to where once you get out of that and you like investigate that area, like you come across a control board
yeah,
to turn on the birds and the background moving,
yep,
turn on the helicopter sounds because the helicopter you get in never moves.
right. Which
Like
was
yeah,
really
just
confusing. It was like, wait, really?
yeah, like they just play the helicopter sounds and
Yeah,
roll the scenery of the helicopter moving.
some Disney shit.
Yeah,
But, the other, like, I was wandering around, and it has that whole, like, do not open while simulation is active sign. And I was like, all right, what's in there? Open the door. It's like, this looks familiar. What is this? Oh shit, this is the apartment door I was trying to open. What the hell?
yeah,
There's a lot of moments like that where you're just sitting there, and with the helicopter, I'm just sitting there like, oh my god, they were watching me the whole time. And I've been playing this game for 10 minutes. It's not like I lived through this shit.
yeah,
But they do a really good job of kind of immersing you in that world. And it's like, wait, is that guy even my brother? What what the shit is going on? Like I
yeah.
really want
Like
to
there's so
know.
many questions immediately,
And I feel
and
kind of violated. Like this is
yeah,
not okay that you tricked me.
yeah. For the most part, until you get to the actual like resolution, like the ending, which that's something I kind of want to talk to you if you make your way through and you actually commit to it.
How long is the game?
I mean, if you're just playing it, probably about 8-10 hours.
Okay. Cause like once I got to the lobby, it was like you're free to roam. I was like, fuck, is this game gonna be 50 hours long?
No, like, I mean, I played through and I almost platinumed it. I
Okay.
may have platinumed it. I'd have to go double check.
As long
But
as it's not a
I
massive
think
time sink, like
I think full run, it maybe took me 20 hours to do a very deep,
Okay.
like every side quest I could do based on my decisions. Because much like Dishonored, your decisions within a lot of scenarios drastically adjust how that game plays out for you.
And see, Dishonored was a game I didn't get into because I didn't care for the gameplay. It just I'm not really big on stealth games, anyways, and that
Oh,
one
I was
really
always a
just
stealth. I was always a stealth dork.
yeah. Other than the Shadow of Mordor games, I just don't like them. That's the only stealth game I've ever got into, I think, that I can really think of. Um, that's about it. That there's something else. Oh, Skyrim. I like being sneaky in Skyrim.
Yeah, but that's just comedic. How busted that is in every
Yeah,
one of the Bethesda games.
yeah. Prey is apparently $17.99 right now. I thought that was cheaper than that.
I mean, it goes on sale all the time. I've seen it as low as like $10 before.
Wow. Yeah, it's just one of those games that got missed. I don't know
Yeah, a
if they're
lot
gonna
of
make
people
another
missed it.
one.
Well, like Arcane has two studios.
Yeah.
They have their French studio and they have their studio in Austin. And it's been the Austin studio that made Dishonored, I want to say, and the French studios who made Prey. So they've been kind of like passing, their workload back and forth, collaborating on some projects and splitting off to do primary development because they were working on Prey at the same time the other studio was working on Dishonored 2.
Okay.
So, I mean, they got two studios still. I mean, sure, yeah, one of the head guys from one of those studios left, but they got a lot of employees there owned by Bethesda. They're working on something, and I'll be first in line to try it out because I haven't played an Arcane game I didn't love yet.
Yeah, and like what do we say? The Dishonored game. I recognize. I wish I might buy the. Well, shit, how much is the bundle? Oh, it's
Well, you
32.
do know, like, Dishonored especially uh, gives you the choice. You don't have to be stealthy at all.
Right. Yeah, I think there was just something about the game I didn't really care for. Because I've tried playing it a handful of times. I just can't get into it.
I mean, that was like one of my favorite games of that entire like generation of games.
Right.
Like I love that first Dishonored.
Yeah, and now that
Uh,
it's probably on a big sale right now because they remastered it.
yeah, there's a remaster version of it.
Yeah, it's 12
The
bucks.
original bundle is on sale all the time. Dishonored 2 and The Death of the Outsider, those are on sale all the time.
I think I just bought Prey, and I think the next time it goes on sale, I'm gonna get Dishonored. Because I feel like since I've played Dishonored, I mean shit, I've played Bioshock and Bioshock 2 and Bioshock. I've played all those games, so I think my love of games like that has changed, and I probably would enjoy it. Especially if I play through Prey and love it, then I'm probably gonna love Dishonored.
Yeah, those games, all the Arcane games, and like the Irrational games before that studio went bye, like the guys who did Bioshock,
Yeah,
except for 2K Marin, which is also no longer a studio. They're a different name now.
yeah, I think they did
They're the ones who did
2.
2.
Yeah.
But like those are all still based in like the root of the old original Deus Ex,
Yep.
um, the System Shock, specifically 2 is the one, Bioshock is kind of like a spiritual successor to.
And I've never played System Shock.
But yeah, so much of those games is they give you the raw systems and it's up to you how you use them.
Right.
And like I told you before last time we had talked about Prey, the like the pluses minus systems of using a bunch of the alien DNA to power up alien style and prey versus just being the best human you can using the human tech, to where like you saw in like the one trailer, you can turn yourself into the fucking coffee cup and roll through the door slot
Yeah.
instead of having to find the code to unlock the door. Like there's so many things in Dishonored, in even back in the day, Dark Messiah of Might and Magic, and in Prey, where like if you're willing to try stuff, you've got so many opportunities to complete things so many different ways.
Right.
It's really up to you.
And that, yeah, I played quite a bit of Dark Messiah. I don't really remember much of it.
Yeah, I
That was
mean
something
the
I played way back. That was something I didn't even own a PC at that time. That was something I played at the local computer shop.
yeah, it was one of the old Source games that came out like not too long after Half-Life 2.
Yeah, I just remember in that game you could like kick people into spikes and shit. Like that was so
Yeah,
cool. Like you can cut traps and
yeah, there was a whole segment you get later on where you're like you see like the orcs and you're on like this cliffside and you're just fucking just punting these assholes down to their death and rolling rocks onto them. Like, so much of that stuff was great. You would get these rope arrows, so you just shoot the rope arrows,
yeah,
climb up different spots.
yeah.
I
Man,
loved
there hasn't been a game like that since.
yeah, because the company that did it has been busy making other games.
Yeah,
There was like actually like a really interesting multiplayer mode
really.
to Dark Messiah of Might and Magic that was kind of like OG like Half-Life 2 multiplayer,
Huh. Which is
to the point
good.
where like so much of that game was like using a lot of the raw tools of the Source engine, to the point where like your fireball spell worked just like the rocket launchers in Half-Life 2.
Okay.
So like you would fire the fireball spell, and based on where you pointed your hand, like it would,
Yeah.
it
Follow
was
it
a
around.
guided missile basically.
That's cool. Oh yeah. See, this is that same gameplay we
Yeah.
saw that last time. That's so
But
cool.
yeah, just turn yourself into the cup, just slide yourself under. But yeah, there's so many silly things you can do in this game. Of like, there was a video I saw, a guy turn himself into a fire extinguisher, and the monster comes stomping through, and he stands up and he just follows the guy, and he turns himself back into a fire extinguisher before the guy turns around.
That's awesome. And they
Yeah.
even say, when they were talking about the mimics, and the guy's like, "Careful what you pick up." And I'm immediately like, "Man, why did you guys say that? What the
Oh,
hell?"
like the paranoia throughout the entire early game of Prey is, man, fuck mimics,
And that's
because they will
actually
come out of
something
nowhere.
I was kind of wondering about, because there was a couple times where like there was a mimic near me and it just left. I was like, "All right, is that
Yeah,
a
sometimes
bug
if
or
no, sometimes they'll just dip out and hide in another room and
fucking
different
assholes?"
object. Here's a trick I will tell you. Prey is one of those games I highly recommend if you're gonna play it. Use headphones, because if you're like walking through an area slowly, you will hear little fucking creepy scuttling sounds if
Nope,
there's a mimic nearby.
nope, not doing it.
You can hear the like
Oh
like you can hear it
God.
making noise, and if you stand close enough, long enough, you'll start to see like the object they're in, kind of wiggle and kind of do
Yeah.
that weird kind of black tendrily thing. So you just bash that motherfucker with your wrench before he has the time to just pop out and scare the ever loving fuck out of you. And then you spill Dr. Pepper all over your meaty chest, and now you have sticky tits, and you're a grown man, and you're sad because you weren't paying attention because your roommate said something. He's like, "Hey," and you look over your shoulder, and you're taking a sip out of a bottle, and then, like, ah!
Jeez.
Yeah,
There
that,
was kind of, it was funny earlier because I was playing the demo And my fiance
Or
was
so I
watching
heard.
me.
I mean, I
Right.
don't know anything by experience, but
My fiance was watching me play it, and a mimic popped out, and she was like, "Was that a spider?" And it kind of like stretched out, got taller. I'm like, "You ever seen a spider do that?" Like, no, it's not a spider. If spiders were like that, I would not want to live on this planet.
yeah, I don't want to live here anymore.
No, fuck that.
Insert Farnsworth meme here.
Yeah, no thanks. Oh, don't die.
Ah,
But other than that, I've been playing a game way less stressful. And I talked about that I started playing last week, and that's Moonlighter.
yeah,
And dude, I am in love with this game. I'm gonna have to finish this before I start Prey. And
yeah. From what I could tell from that game, and you talked about what you had really liked in Battle Chef Brigade, I had a feeling this would click for you.
yeah, and a big part of it for me was I was worried, and even when I started playing it, I was getting my ass kicked by everything in the dungeon. I was worried that this game was gonna be super hard, and I wasn't gonna be able to get into it. Like I like the game Fury, but it's too hard for me, or like Titan Souls. I'm like, no, it takes me so long to make any progress. I don't want to play it, and that's just because like I enjoy making progress in a game. I don't like getting stuck. That's why I don't like Dark Souls and stuff like that. But this game, I feel like once I really figured out the combat system and figured out that most of the enemies can only face cardinal directions, they can't face diagonal. So that's a big part of the combat is like getting in their kind of blind spots. Some of the enemies don't have them, which is really surprising when that shit happens. But
I can imagine.
and there's lots of different ways to fight. Like you start off with a sword and shield, and you can get like a spear and a big sword. You get a bow and arrow, and you can get. And I didn't even know this was a weapon, but you can get gloves, which I just thought gloves were like hand armor, but no, they're like hand to hand, like brass
Yeah,
knuckle type
they're
things.
melee weapons. That's neat.
Yeah, and they hit really fast. I really like those, but so far my combination has been to have the big sword, which they even call the Buster Sword. And I kind of love that. Um, and a bow and arrow, because the bow and arrow just has unlimited ammo. But you're going into the dungeon, you're killing these creatures, you're collecting the things they drop, and you're taking them back to your shop to sell them, but also to craft with them, because you have to use these parts to create your weapons and create your armor. Or rather, you have the blacksmith do it. And so, like the first level of weapons, you have to go into the golem dungeon and get those parts, and the creatures drop them. And there's 3 floors to each dungeon, and then a boss, and each floor is subsequently harder. Now, this right here, I want to point out this inventory system. See, he just moved something. So on the left side of that screen, you see the pink boxes with the white horizontal bars. That means that those items have to go on the left or right side of your inventory. And then there are other items that say when you go back to town, an item pointing in this direction, so it'll be like diagonal from that, will get destroyed. So you have to put them on like the edge of your inventory so that destroys nothing. There are items that will send back an item to town, which is great. There are items that if you get hit too many times, they'll break. So there's a lot of just little inventory management that's actually kind of like a fun little mini game. And then you can also sell stuff for much less than what it's worth just to get rid of it. Every time you go back to town, it actually costs you money. And you can also open up a teleporter thing to actually go back to town, drop stuff off, and go back, but it costs a lot more. And here it costs 6,000. But that's
Yeah, I
pretty
see
much
that.
it. Is you are upgrading, you're going hunting monsters, getting their parts, and taking them back to the shop, which is a whole nother thing. Because
Yeah,
the dungeon crawling part is very much going in, figuring out the weaknesses of enemies, getting around them, killing them, getting their parts, getting to the end of the dungeon, and getting out. And then when you get out to the shop, it's a whole nother fight you have to go through. Because the game does not tell you what anything is worth. Not a damn thing. So there's been a couple times where I've sold an item for like 100 gold, and then I was like, oh, I guess I sold that too cheap because a customer will pick it up and he'll get like little pieces of gold in his eyes, like, oh shit, I got a good deal. So you're like, okay, that's too cheap. But if they ever like have like kind of dread on their face and they don't buy it, that means it's way too expensive. So you have to find the middle ground, and you go up a little bit, down a little bit until eventually you hit that sweet spot, and it does save it, and it does save a history of like when you sold it for this much, it was too cheap. When you sold it for this much, it was too expensive. This was a sweet spot. So you sell these items, and you upgrade your shop, make it bigger, make more space. Now I have like glass cabinets. I can also decorate the shop that does different things, like makes my customers go faster, allows more customers to come in, has them give me a bigger tip. Um, Stuff like that. And then, upgrading the town, buying different merchants for the town, all that type of thing. And so far, I've cleared the Golem dungeon and the Forest dungeon. This one here is the Forest dungeon. Now I'm in the Desert dungeon. And I've also upgraded my shop to level 3. And now townspeople can give me quests. They can ask for specific items. And the nice thing about this game is I feel like I am always progressing. I'm always getting to that next step. And the whole time, I always feel like, all right, so I just got to go in, grab these items, come out, and then I can get to the next stage of the dungeon. I always feel like I'm moving up in the world rather than getting stuck. I never felt like I got stuck at any point except for the beginning when I was trying to figure it out. Since then, it's been a very smooth ride, and even in the forest dungeon, I took my time and upgraded everything, and when I got to the boss, I killed him in one shot. Not one literal shot, but just I didn't have to keep going back to him.
Yeah.
So that was nice. So I've kind of got the game figured out. I think the desert dungeon whooped my ass the first time. So we'll see.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
But yeah, I don't feel like I've ever, even when I fail in the dungeon and I get killed, I'm like, oh, okay, no big deal. I'll go back. Because it doesn't take you that long. A dungeon run does not take very long. Now that I see the spear, I kind of want to use the spear.
Yeah, it makes me think about something I just reinstalled, mess around with in the coming week.
What's that?
They just released the Advanced Dungeons and Dragons update.
Yes. This game is a lot like that. It's a lot like Enter
Yeah,
the Gungeon with
now
the dodging mechanic and everything.
yeah, like they knew exactly what they were making of that game. Naming their
Yeah.
company like like their whole design philosophy is in their name, which is neat.
What was the name of the
But
company?
Dodge Roll.
Oh, okay. Yeah, actually, in the
Yeah.
second boss in the forest dungeon, it's this big plant, and as it's spinning, it's kind of spitting out spores and like a swirl kind of firing pattern. And when I was dodging, I was like, "Motherfucker, I'm just playing Gungeon now."
Yeah. That's the thing is like this update that Advanced Dungeons and Dragons was like this shit took like a year to come out because I remember them talking about this when the game first came out on like PlayStation and I was playing it. And then all of a sudden I just saw like a week or two ago, hey, this is finally coming out. I was like, that hadn't come out yet? Really?
Apparently, it
But
dramatically changes the game.
it changes drop rates, it changes certain boss fights, it adds new enemy types, new guns. Like it's a fairly comprehensive update, much like the No Man's Sky next update. It's about to
Yeah,
happen.
I might get No Man's Sky on Xbox.
But I'm just it's one of those things where at least initially the intro, like you've got to hit a certain point before you are kind of leveling up continuously on Enter the Gungeon.
Yeah.
Because if you just die way too early, you get nothing. But if you make it, to a certain point, then you start getting some more like permanent progress,
Okay.
in between your runs into the dungeon.
Yeah, I haven't played
Because
this game enough as much as I enjoy it.
Yeah, because it's fucking balls hard.
It is, and I typically don't like games like that, but this one I really do like.
I only fired the Gungeon once.
What does that even mean?
So that's the whole lore is you get a wish, you get one wish if you get to the bottom of the Gungeon, because the entire
Yeah.
Gungeon is also a gun.
Oh my god.
And you fire the one bullet, and that's for your wish.
Huh.
So it's kind of like a weird Wizard of Oz
Yeah.
in a space dungeon that's bullet themed. But yeah, I only finished the game once, and that was a fucking nightmare.
I really
And
want to finish it. This and Necropolis are two very hard games that I want to finish.
yeah, before they released this update, they had also had to release a few updates to fix some of the boss enemies, especially were just ridiculous
Okay.
because the boss you fight at the different floors of the dungeon
Right.
is random. Like you've got your choice between this boss and this boss, but it's not your choice. It's which one spawns. So there was a boss when you get to like the second floor, I want to say, named the Ammo Conda.
Okay.
It's basically a giant snake that's also like a treaded tank, and beating that thing before they patched it was literally like like I beat Cuphead fairly easily.
Okay.
Fucking OG Ammo Conda was broken as fuck. Like like that's probably like the hardest achievement in gaming I've ever done is beating that fucking Ammo Conda, man. He was trash. Oh my god. Like you would get cheated so hard. So a lot of people initially, that did multiple runs through, because there are benefits to playing prolonged, and you unlock new guns.
Yeah.
Like the further you get, the more of those guns you now added to your Emunomicon, like it's
Yeah.
like Necronomicon. Like you see, that's like the pause menu that showed for a sec of like the whole catalog of guns and kind of what they do once you've encountered them and picked them up and used them. Like there's a gun in this game that shoots other guns.
Yes, I was gonna mention that. I love that thing.
There's so many weird things, like, and so many of the secrets in this game are so weird and obtuse, and like the way you encounter like backtracking into some of these areas, like those little revolver barrels there are your fast travel points when
Yeah.
you're in that floor of the dungeon. But yeah, so there's a whole lot of these new guns coming out, new enemies, and fuck, I really don't want to be playing this game right now, but I gotta at least give it a shot to see what it's like.
That's kind of how I feel about it. I almost bought it on Switch again because it's on sale for like $7.
Yeah, it's like $8. Yeah,
But I also feel like I haven't played enough on Xbox. I can't, like, I could justify buying another copy of Stardew because I played it a lot on Switch as well. I don't think I'd play a lot of Gungeon on Switch. Also,
like
because
it.
I play it in handheld mode, and I just don't think a game like this. I don't think I would do well. I don't do
Yeah,
great
like
on
this.
Xbox.
Yeah, this is all like reaction times, and if
I
you're
think, yeah.
using the Joy Cons, you're in for a bad time.
If I ever buy this game again, it's gonna be on PC. It's not gonna be on Switch.
I don't think you're gonna do well with the Joy Cons for Enter the Gungeon.
No. Yeah, because I was like, oh, I love Gungeon. I should get this on. Well,
Yeah,
maybe I shouldn't. I don't need to buy everything on Switch.
yeah.
It's kind of been my problem so far. It's like, I love this game. I'll buy it. Bought it. I need to just get, and hopefully Bob will be on next week, but I don't think he will be. talking about Octopath. He just needs to come on for 20 minutes to talk about this game.
Just a little Octopath, because that's one of those games where, like, last week when Bob wasn't here and we kind of mentioned Octopath since it had just come out. It's like that's one of those games where I'm so conflicted at the thought of it, because like conceptually, visually, so much of that speaks to who I used to be.
Yeah.
But it's like the knowledge I have of the actual like systems of playing through that game, I'm like, I don't want to do any of that.
Yeah.
Because it still apparently has some real bad pacing and gating as far as like, oh, hey, they have a recommended level for this next little area of your story you're going to. And they really mean they recommend that level.
Right.
So if you're not anywhere near that level, time to go grind for like 2 hours.
Yeah, see, like when I asked you about praying, you said 10 hours. All right, I can do 10 hours. That it's like we've talked about before, I really do appreciate it that I can finish a game and not have to dedicate my entire life to finishing it and finish that game within a year. No thanks. That's why I love Battleship Brigade. That's why Moonlighter I'm gonna finish. Within I could probably finish it in a week if I really shit. I have 3 days off. I might have it beat by next podcast.
Yeah.
I appreciate games like that. Another game on Switch that I might just get, depending on what you say about it, is the Captain Toad's Treasure Tracker.
Yeah,
Damn, this looks up my alley.
Yeah, I mean it's a puzzle game. It's very chill. It's visual ASMR.
Yeah.
Is how I felt about it playing it. There's a demo of it on the Switch.
Is the demo co-op?
I believe so.
Okay. That might be a way to justify buying it.
But yeah, I had played this and I had played some Sushi Strikers. But yeah, this
Strikers?
game, Sushi Strikers.
Way of the sushi.
Sushi. I'm tired and
Me too.
I'm a mush mouth in general. But
well, we got Captain Toad up on the screen, so go ahead and talk about that one.
Yeah, Captain Toad, like I played first few levels. It's just really neat. Like they had talked about, when this game first came out, their walled garden philosophy. They kind of wanted each one of these little puzzle levels to kind of be its own like little like bonsai tree diorama of interesting things. Like, and they're deceptively hard sometimes for like you trying to get all of the little secrets hiding in there.
Yeah.
Because in just the very first level, it's not, explicit, unless I think probably you get into some of the further levels, it educates you on some of these things. Like there are some of these, shy guys you beat up, you throw turnips at them like it's straight up Mario 2.
Nice.
Like you see the little flower boxes, you pick those up. There you go. There's your turnip. You bash a motherfucker over the head. Yeah.
He's just standing there. He's not doing anything.
Toad is a terrible, terrorist for CTE. These poor shy guys are going to go home and kill themselves with a shotgun. They have no reason to live. But they were shy to begin with, and now they're getting bashed in the head with turnips. Like,
yeah.
Like how could you, Toad? But yeah, so like you rotate the screen, kind of like Fez.
Yes, Fez is awesome.
I kind of at one of these days I want to talk about like the whole insanity of the Fez situation and how no one fucking talks about it anymore.
Yeah.
Of like people actively ruined a guy's life because they didn't like his opinions on the internet.
Yeah, we could have a whole podcast about that.
Yeah, that like, and all the times I come across like all these encounters of people like saying these devs suck or whatever, I was like, yeah, just don't Phil Fish anybody. Like, just calm the fuck down.
Well, it's also like if you hate something that much or hate someone that much, and I,
That you'll post
goddamn,
their social security number, home address,
yeah, that's
credit card
crazy.
info.
Well, I was just gonna say, like,
This,
if I don't know, I guess I don't have that level of hate for like anybody.
yeah,
But I was just gonna say, like, if you just don't support what they do, just don't buy their games. Like,
yeah,
I
that
won't
that
buy Double Fine games because they have a very bad habit of just giving up on shit. And Peter
what do you
Molyneux
mean?
is the same way. Well, like Space DF9, they just said, "Well, here's source code. We're not gonna finish as you guys can." Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, yeah, but that's kind of like, they do like their game jams like in the company to decide what they're working on.
Yeah,
Like that's part of their philosophy of design.
and they also fucked up with Broken Age. And who knows if we'll ever get through the rest of that game.
Yeah.
It seems like they're very irresponsible with like money and time, and like Peter Molyneux, he's super bad about promising the world. And I bought into it with Goddess, and I got burned bad on that. It's just there's certain developers that kind of, and I'm not saying I will never buy another Double Fine game again, but currently I'm kind of in a prove it motherfucker mode with.
Yeah. I
If
can understand that.
if they came out with Space Base DF92 and said, "Guys, we screwed up. Here's a complete game," or they live up to all the promises they made to people with Broken Age, or they just made another incredible game, or Peter Molyneux came out with another black and white game that was incredible, I'd be like, "All right, you got me back." But right now, with both those companies in particular, I'm just like, no, I'm not.
Nope.
I'm not dealing with your bullshit. There's other people that deserve my money.
Yeah.
Basically the same way I'm with Bungie right now. You know, Destiny just came out with a cool new quest, and there's a bunch of cool stuff coming up at the end of this month. I don't think I'm gonna do it. I don't think I'm gonna buy the new expansion. They
Yeah.
burned me.
I would say don't give power to your attacker.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. The
Meanwhile, I've been enjoying all my time in the Division, and the Division's like, here's some cool new stuff. And by the way, so like the new shield for which is the thing you unlock content in the Division 2 with. This week's shield is in the Underground, which is DLC. Some people are a little upset with that, but I don't really think it's a big deal because like you can get the complete edition of the Division for like less than $20 right now. So
Yeah,
it's like,
they throw that game away pretty.
yeah, but not to mention that it's so cheap. They made the Underground DLC free this week. So if you don't own it, you can just go in there and just get the shield. And it's a little grindy. You have to complete like 10 phases to kill like 10 hunters and do one more thing. But I mean, I say grindy, you're expecting that going into the Division.
Yeah, like
But
that's that game.
yeah, but it's also not extremely grindy. Like you could do it in a few hours. And if you never play the Underground, you're going to enjoy the shit out of it because Underground is awesome. It's basically Diablo in the Division. It's completely random every time. But I thought that was really cool. The devs said, "Yeah, we understand you might not own it, so here you can have it and play it as much as you want this week." I think that's fair. But but like we got like 7 more shields are gonna come out. They
Yeah.
can't all be in the vanilla division. That's too much shit. So yeah, some of them are gonna be DLC. And
Yeah,
there's my division update for the week.
but yeah, with like Captain Toad, and it's something I'll also talk when we get over to like Sushi Strikers is unfortunately, as a guy who doesn't really play his Switch undocked, both of those games function just conceptually better, in handheld mode.
Yeah.
Because you see on the screen like the little like reticle, the little kind of cursor that's moving around the screen,
Right.
like the pause menus in Destiny.
Yes.
When you're undocked, that's just a thing you touch. That's where you just put your finger, so that's not on screen. I think it shows up when you click, but it's not permanently on screen. when you're docked, it stays on your screen at all times.
Oh, okay.
It's also like motion controlled. So like if you tilt your controller, you can use it to move around to interact with things.
Yeah.
But I was just getting annoyed seeing it there and there's no option to turn it off. And I'm like, really, guys? You didn't think this would be a problem?
This game looks so cool.
Yeah, it's really just relaxing.
It's 40
It's really
bucks,
well
right?
designed. Yeah, it's 40, I want to say.
I'm gonna play the demo. I might wait for this one to go on sale for just a few bucks
Yeah.
less.
Like it's one of those things, yeah, like I enjoyed, but it wasn't enough for me to justify the expense of buying it.
Sure.
Especially like the crazy thing is the people who are rebuying this game. That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
They spent 60 on it when it came out on the Wii U and are buying it again for like 40 or whatever.
I mean, some people are into games.
Yeah.
I
Well,
bought
it's
Destiny
like
twice.
yeah, it's like the idea of like the $400 collector's edition Darksiders
Yeah.
3.
Well, any collector's editions. I haven't bought a collector's edition since forever.
Yeah, the one that burned me was the Arkham City.
Oh yeah.
Actually, no, it was the Arkham Asylum, the first one, because they had this Batarang statue, and
Okay.
that's
Yeah.
all it was a fucking statue. It was a hard plastic mounted to the base fucking statue.
Well, that's
And I was like,
like.
God damn it, it was so lame.
Well, that's like, and man, I really feel like I dodged a bullet with this one. But the Marvel versus Capcom Infinite, that whole thing. Are you familiar with that?
The Infinity Stone ones,
Yes. The
just like
Easter
the weird
eggs.
fucking like Easter egg diorama
Yeah, and then
for
that
a science
game
project.
isn't very good anyways. Because man, Marvel vs. Capcom 2 and especially 3, I have put at least a couple hundred hours in between. I mean, probably just in the 3. So I'm sure there's gonna be someone like says that that's not much. But man, I love 3. That is such a good game. And I was so into Infinite until like I started seeing more gameplay, and it's like, oh, this doesn't look good. Oh, Chun Li looks a little fucking retarded.
Yeah, the art style is dumb, but the game is still there.
Infinite?
It's just like as far as the mechanics of playing it.
Oh, I've heard the opposite. People don't like the mechanics.
People don't like they probably don't like the stone
Right.
mechanics of how that's kind of like a meter
From
and
what
like
I understand, and like I've heard from a lot of my friends that also, we played a lot of Infinite, and not Infinite, but 3 and 2 together, is it's just not worth buying.
yeah. I mean, I would not recommend anybody buy it, but yeah, it's just unfortunate.
Which, it worked out for me because I went and bought Injustice 2 instead. And damn, is that game good.
Yeah, I need to get around to playing Injustice too.
It's fantastic. But instead, you play Sushi Striker.
Yeah, Sushi Striker. I is
I
I
don't
like the
understand this game. I played the demo. I don't get it.
yeah, like the base mechanics of it, I can really appreciate, and it's a well made kind of like puzzle fighter game.
Yeah.
But if they don't have the ability to turn on like Japanese voice acting, that the voice acting alone was killing me.
This is another one of those games I played on my Switch without sound.
Wow, you dodged a fucking bullet
Okay.
because it really is like low budget anime the game.
Damn.
Like that's the thing of like being a guy who's been in anime for so many years is like the argument between like the people that just want to watch it, dubbed in English versus subtitled. And people are like, I prefer like, the original Japanese voice acting. The reason why they prefer the original Japanese voice acting is that voice acting is an actual industry people want to go into in Japan.
Yeah.
Like the install base of talent you have is just massive. So you don't hear the same like 8 people like you hear in all the
Right.
Funimation projects because they're literally just using the people that work for them in their area that can just record at any time because they're on such a high turnover rate as far as like just getting episodes out the door.
Right. I feel like the only show I've wanted to watch with Japanese voice actors, because it doesn't bother me the English ones, is One Piece, just because of Luffy. The English voice actor's so annoying. I
Yeah,
really like that manga.
but that's the thing is like you literally like I could tell you the names probably of everybody that did a voice in this game because
Right.
they've been in every fucking adaptation of an anime in the past like 15 years
And so
produced by Funimation.
this game, I didn't quite get it. Like, you just match up all the colors as they're crossing each other, stack up the plates and throw them, basically.
Yeah, you're eating food to create stacks of plates, and those are your weapons to fight the enemy.
That seems like it'd get old really fast.
Yeah, it got old pretty fast for me. Now they do like the weird like Pokemon yokai watch aspect to the game. Like when you get deeper into it,
Yeah.
kind of add some modifiers that really like make the base mechanics drastically different as far as like the actual battle mechanics get to be because you see you've got 3 different slots for those sushi sprites.
Okay.
So Jinrai is the first guy you find. He has the bonsai or whatever, which is where once you cue his power, like when you fill up his meter, everything on your rows, your side of the conveyor belt, become the same color. And that's when it's just time for you to just fucking like zigzag and just grab everything and get a massive stack of plates.
Okay.
You eventually like you beat this kid. He has like this penguin sprite you take, and that sprite, his power is like sweets something, where it's like parfaits and ice cream and little snack rolls pop
Huh.
up, and you just gotta mash the fucking button to grab as many of those as you can because those give you health back.
Okay.
So that little penguin in a top hat is like your healer character. You also eventually unlock different gear to adjust like how the board reacts.
Okay.
It's like right after this fight in the demo, when you get Pinzo is his name, the little penguin guy, you get what's called the movement gear or whatever.
Yeah.
And basically the longer you stay like in one lane, the faster that lane moves.
Okay.
So then it changed your ability to, kind of like grab something on the end and just ride it over faster to where the chain can start on the other side of the conveyor belt on the lane below or above. And I have a feeling there's going to be a lot more variety going in later on of
Right.
the different character abilities, the different gear abilities. But if you don't enjoy like the base game to that point,
Yeah.
then much like unfortunately I didn't enjoy Battle Chef Brigade.
Which is bullshit.
But I've never been a match 3 guy. I never liked Peggle.
Yeah, I did play the demo for Sushi Strike, and it was after I played Battle Chef, and I was like, you know what? I bet you I'm gonna like this, and didn't.
Yeah. But again, Sushi Strikers drastically works better in handheld mode.
Yeah.
Like just putting your finger on the screen and dragging it around, and then just flicking the plates with your finger instead of having to hold A and then swing your analog stick around and then hit a separate button to throw your plates. Like it just
Yeah. Makes
It's
sense.
just functionally a smaller, bite-sized game that benefits more in handheld mode than it would docked.
Well, I think the only other thing we had to talk about. Did you want to talk about Perfect Dark Zero? Did you want to play more of that?
Uh, a hard no.
Damn, I
Wow,
don't
like
blame you.
I like you've talked about, like I messed around with Game Pass and I installed a few things. I've got a couple games I hope to play my next day off. There's a game called The Late Shift and some of the Vermintide 2 and maybe some State of Decay 2,
Oh,
but
this play. Have you? I was gonna say, have you played State of Decay 2?
no. I didn't
Oh
really
boy.
like the first one.
You know what? I liked the first one. Okay. I was like, you know what? This is a cool game. Not really for me. I played State of Decay 2 and played the shit out of it.
Yeah. But yeah, this Perfect Dark Zero is one of those. I remember this being bad. I just needed to see how bad it was.
Yeah.
And wow, as soon as the fucking menus start, the music kicks in, and you're like,
Yeah.
oof.
I got the rare
The,
replay, I think, because I watched E3 last year or something. Like
yeah,
I
they gave it out for
okay,
something.
and I played this, and this and like, um, Jesus, not Crash Bandicoot, um, Banjo Kazooie.
Banjo Kazooie, yeah.
They don't hold up well, at least not to
No,
me, because I never played them originally. So maybe like
it,
if you had played them then and now you play them, it's like, oh, this is so good. But like,
no, this is raw nostalgia. Like
right.
even if you go back and play Perfect Dark, the original N64 game, oof.
I don't think
Like
I ever played it. I played GoldenEye. I was a GoldenEye kid. I know some
it
people like
was
Perfect Dark.
it was a mechanically better GoldenEye in the
Yeah.
multiplayer, and it had some really interesting stuff. There's like a laptop gun, like you threw out like the little briefcase that
Yeah.
turned into a turret, and there was an X-ray gun you could shoot through walls, but it it wasn't the greatest. Like I loved like that old fashioned mission structure of making runs in the level and time and objectives, give you new unlocks and weird stuff like that. But I tried to play this. I got maybe 20 minutes in and
Yeah.
I was like, oof.
Yeah.
Because it's it's hard to look at. I remember when this game first came out, the physics were comedically broken. To where like you would shoot a guy and like pieces of armor would be just rolling into eternity across the ground. They would never stop. Like you see the
Oh,
armor just
yep.
popping off of people for no
Oh,
reason.
wow.
Like you just randomly just look down and these things would still be moving, minutes later. And I think they fixed some of that to where it wasn't like just like it just looks like you're playing Time Splitters, but it's not fun.
Hey, okay. Don't insult Time Splitters.
No,
Why
Time
is there not
Splitters
a new
deserves to
Time
be insulted.
Splitters? What?
Time Splitters has. Cause I replayed Time Splitters recently because it was inside Homefront 2, the second Homefront game.
Fucking what? Really?
Yeah. Yeah, you could play Time Splitters 1 or 2, I want to say, inside that game.
So am I looking back with rose tinted glasses?
Aggressively so.
I love Time Splitters.
Yeah, like don't get me wrong, much like if you try to go back and play old school GoldenEye, like the base mechanics you remember are still there. It's just
Oh yeah, well we
the
played the GoldenEye PC mod thing,
yeah.
and that was actually a lot of fun. But to
Yeah,
go
it's
back
just
and use that control scheme again,
yeah,
no.
it's the
Ugh.
playing part which is rough.
Yeah.
Especially, if you've played a lot of shooters since then and in general, most shooters kind of have a raw structure of like control schemes and features you expect. And when you go back to a game where you have to click a button to aim, uh, that's independent of what you would normally use on a controller,
Yeah.
or you with this game they had a cover mechanic,
Yeah,
but
I
it's
just
like
saw
a
that.
hard, yeah, it's a hard lock on. Like it's just you're here and you're not going anywhere
This,
unless you hit that button to detach. Like you're just like magnetically like stuck onto the
yeah,
surface.
this game looks
And like
bad.
yeah, it's rough going back. Like
Taking
there's
it
so
off
many
the
games
screen.
in this particular era, especially right before this game, because this is like a launch Xbox 360 game.
Yeah.
So this was, barely on tech, inches above what, like PS2 and 64 were at. They hadn't really like had time or the experience
Right.
to work on new stuff. But man, oof. It's like going back and trying to play Turok now,
Oh,
which
that's
they
another
released
game I
those
would
on
love to
PC.
play. Yeah. I'm really curious if the re-release is any good.
They are just re-releases.
Yeah.
They are not remasters. So imagine looking exactly at slightly less like reboot the TV show, like the old cartoon looking in their textures. They're more old school, kind of like Quake, not shiny like Toy Story models.
Right.
But again, it's a game where like the base mechanics are those old style and they're rough.
Yeah. Yeah, I would love. Man, we need a Time Splitter sequel though. Like just
Well,
that concept.
there was a group, and every now and then they resurface with like another preview that had been doing like TimeSplitters Rewind, I want to say is the name of the project,
Okay.
where they were making like an Unreal Engine 4 version of TimeSplitters. Like
That would
there
be
was a
nice.
new TimeSplitters game. I don't know if it was officially or unofficially in progress. You can see like they have like a flyover of like an old map they redid
Hmm.
and some other basic stuff. Let me see if that was the name. Time Splitters Rewind. Yeah, I remembered. I remember the name actually. That's weird. I hadn't thought about that game since that Homefront: The Revolution came out. But yeah, this is one of those projects that who knows if it'll ever actually surface. Because like the rights of who owns the Time Splitters name is
Right.
kind of up in the air. Because I want to say um, Deep Silver owns the property, but
Huh.
somebody else own like what some person owns like the distribution rights for the first two games, but somebody else owns the franchise like as an IP. So it's like this weird split, and that's why like the the Time Splitters game was in that Homefront that was published by Deep Silver,
Yeah.
but they can't make a new one.
Huh. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
it's weird. And this guy just fell through the map.
Yeah.
Oh, he's doing a fly through. Okay. That was intentional.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's going back to some old games. Yeah, that's a real interesting thing cuz I always had like this idea of wanting to have the work ethic to get around to doing it,
Yeah.
but like I've always been aggressively anti-nostalgia.
Yes. So am I.
And like I had an idea for kind of like a video series called Nostalgia,
Yeah.
and where you go back and you just pick like a game everybody remembers fondly and you go replay it and you just rip it apart and find the things that were never good
Yeah.
and address those. Just it's more comedic, just to trigger people.
Yeah, I think a big one for me was Killer Instinct because
Oh,
I have the Xbox One version and it came with the first or second one. I don't remember, or both. And yeah, I went and played. I was like, "Fuck this game! I don't need to play Killer Instinct. I have the original." Wouldn't play the original. And went, "Oh, this is fucking
let me
terrible."
go back. Hey, Iron Galaxy, sorry to talk shit about you guys. You do some cool stuff.
Yeah, and then because I literally I got it to play the originals. I think I got it for free for Xbox Live Gold.
Yeah, they gave out like the whole
Yeah.
like first season.
And I was like, I'm not gonna
Mhm.
play this new version. I like the old version. Play the old version when this is terrible. Play the new version and it's fucking awesome. The new
Yeah,
version
the
plays how you remember the old version.
yeah, like that's the thing is like I tried to explain to somebody about like Killer Instinct, like or going back to like a game like Primal Carnage. Did you ever play that one?
Yes.
That was like the King Kong versus the T Rex and that weird shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were bad. They were just cashing in on like the peak
And that's
of
why
like the arcade fighters.
Bad Dudes is on the Switch now, and I want to get that because I played it in the arcade a bunch. I'm like, it might be bad.
Yeah,
It might be
the only
bad, dude.
benefit yeah, the only benefit Killer Instinct had was that it was one of the better versions of a game that ended up being in a home console.
Yeah.
That's the benefit stupid fucking Mortal Kombat had. As a guy who loved Mortal Kombat and has played every single one of them, they were never good until like the last three.
They've been. Yeah, I guess it's kind of up in the air. Like Street Fighter, I would say is good. Like I've always been a Street Fighter guy, and I liked playing Mortal Kombat, but we always ended up going back to Street Fighter.
Yeah, because mechanically Mortal Kombat has been trash
Right.
until the last three games.
Well, it's always been duck and uppercut.
Yeah,
That's Mortal Kombat.
it it was really slow, awkward juggles.
Yes.
But
No, you played
yeah,
Mortal
man.
Kombat for the fatalities.
Yeah, it was there for spectacle,
Absolutely.
and now you get to see the spectacle of crushing testicles. X-ray on them, X-ray on
Yeah.
them walnuts.
Oh god. Yeah, those games were really brutal. They're fun though. They are really fun. Mortal Kombat X is
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah, there was a game like I had an idea of going back to if I ever got around to doing that nostalgia thing. Is a Bloody Roar
Yeah.
PS1 is like I remember I loved that stupid game, and it was a series. Like they made like five of those, but they only really released like one in America, I want to say.
Okay.
And yeah, going back to things that I really like to, going back to things that are like universally popular.
Yeah.
It's like talking about like Banjo Kazooie, like how you said that doesn't hold
No, no, it doesn't.
up. When I tried out ukulele, I immediately was mad. And
Yeah, did you play A Hat in
like
Time yet?
I have not played A Hat in Time yet
Okay.
because of goddamn Fortnite being the goddamn black hole of my life. But like
Indeed.
every time I think I'm gonna go home and play some, like you get a text message from like three different friends like Fortnite. I'm like, God fuck.
Say
If I if
no.
I bought into the battle pass again, so if I don't kind of stay up on at least the weekly challenges, I'll have no chance of
All right.
finishing it.
I'll tell you how you do it. This is something I learned recently, something I've implemented into my life. What you do to get away from games like that is just don't have friends.
See, that's my problem. Is I have those, and they're a pain.
Just
But
stop talking to them. Just I hate you and don't talk to them again. And then you can play all the single player games you want.
yeah, but yeah, going back to like the idea of like ukulele, and apparently, like immediately after I gave it a shot, is when they put out a patch to kind of solve the problem. The primary problem I had was the faithfulness to the Banjo-Kazooie style voices.
Oh yeah.
Where it's just
Yeah.
to the point
So
where
unnecessary.
That's the weird thing about like Sushi Strikers. Going back to that for a second, is like the weird sentences they decide to not have voice acting on, versus a game like Ukulele or Banjo-Kazooie where they're just making sounds for every fucking syllable, and it drives you absolutely insane.
Oh,
I remember I
God.
made a comment about it on Ukulele about like there's like a snake character who's like this kind of like sleazy salesman, and he's wearing trousers, so he's a trouser snake.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's just a snake coiled up inside a pair of pants and wearing boots. But literally, this is a spot on impression of how he talks.
Oh
Like, and it's fucking constant.
Was it
And
what was that other game that was like on 64? The one with the fucking raccoon, not the raccoon, the squirrel, the everyone
Conker's Bad
loves.
Fur
Conker,
Day?
yeah, isn't that like that?
No, Conker's Bad Fur Day was, the like. I'll fucking do a hot take here. The best N64 game. As far as like things I would want to go back and try to replay, which I did when they did the original Xbox kind of remake of that game, which is also like a very interesting, weird version of that game. But no, that was fully voiced dialogue.
Okay. I guess I
That
must
was
just be
all.
thinking of Banjo.
Yeah, there was a couple different banjos
Or maybe it was
on
Gex
the
like that.
N64.
I think Gex may have been like that.
Well, no, Gex, at least Enter the Gecko and any of the ones after that were voice dialogue, but
Gex is
Donkey Kong, one of the Donkey Kongs had a character that just made like noises.
I'm probably just remembering everything. Just since
Yeah.
it's all a blur at this point.
But yeah, after like I had played Ukulele for a bit and I like enjoyed what they had done with that game, but every fucking time I had to talk to somebody.
Oh yeah. See, I can play that on Switch. This is no sound.
Yeah, but they apparently added a patch to like reduce the frequency of talking sounds and turn it off altogether.
Jeez. No
Because
one playtesting that realized that'd be annoying.
I remember like I made a comment about it on Reddit. The guy was like, but that's how Banjo-Kazooie was. I was like, it was never fucking acceptable.
Yeah.
Like, it was a fucking problem on Banjo-Kazooie.
It was bad back then. Yeah, no shit. That doesn't mean it needs to be bad now. Just like with fucking Blood Moon, whatever.
Yeah.
Jumping in that's unacceptable. Curse of the Moon, whatever. Bloodstained, Curse of the Moon. There you go.
Bloodstained, Curse of the Moon, yeah.
Jumping in that is fucking terrible. It shouldn't be.
It's like, oh, hey, I queued up my animation. Let's help this out.
Can you imagine if they made a new Perfect Dark and it was just like Zero? Looked the same, played the same, be like, why? What are you doing?
Yeah. It's not even like ironically. It's just like, hey, this thought would stick to reality. Because at least with a game like what was it called? It's a roguelike Strife 1997.
Yep, Strafe. I have a video of that.
Strafe.
It's not very good.
But yeah, like there was intent for it to look like that as part of the gimmick.
And the problem with Strafe is like everything kind of looks the same, and some of the enemies are kind of hard to spot.
Yeah,
and it's just man, that game did not play well. I wanted to buy that game right out the gate, and I'm glad I didn't. So yeah, one game that I'm looking forward to playing that's going to come out on the Twitch Prime thing next month is Antihero. I'm pretty happy with having Twitch Prime. It's very much paying off.
Well, see, that's the funny thing is like For the longest time, I just was either given the codes or not redeeming them because I owned them already. So
Yeah, you're gonna want to play Antihero. It looks pretty great.
that's what I was trying to look into to see if I recognize this.
Well, we'll have to talk about that another podcast because we are
Yeah.
almost at 2 hours and 15 minutes. So let's go ahead and outro this show. Thank you for listening, guys. This is episode 5. We're 5 in. So if you've been here the whole time, we're gonna be doing this for a while, hopefully. And hopefully Bob will come back someday. Next
Yeah.
week, or the week after, hopefully we'll have Jeremy on, which is a good friend of mine, and he's got a lot of he's the Monster Hunter guy. He loves Monster
Oh,
Hunter.
he's one of
So
those people.
he's good. He's kind of the person I've probably played games with the most. Um, Other than that, if you know anyone you'd like to have on the show, send them a tweet and say, "Hey, I'd like you to be on my favorite podcast, FewTrueGamers podcast, because this is everyone's favorite podcast, right?" I
Yeah.
hope.
Yeah. Is that
Um,
right, guys? Yeah.
See, you got the audience right there. But other than that, thank you for listening, guys. There is a new episode of the Larp Brothers out. That's one of our partners here at FewTrueVillains.com. Uh, See, I can actually pull up a little video. They went to Neverwinter Crown qualifications in Castleberry, I think. I think that's where it was. And we got to have some great fights. These guys in particular had a pretty great fight. I think they Ada's on the right and Snack Pack I think is on the left. There are some pretty epic fights in this video, I will say. And then they end up going to Gator Dockside. Oh, that's just them blabbing. The Lark Brothers blab a lot.
Well, isn't that the whole point of LARPing?
Blabbing? No, tell them to. It's not. But enjoy that. I've still got new Project 168 videos coming out. I'm still continuing my Battle Chef Brigade series. We're going to complete that game. And I'm going to keep playing Moonlighter. That's what I'm going to do right after I'm done editing this. Anything you want to talk about, Troll?
Not really. I still just occasionally bullshit, waste time on Twitch.
It's fun.
Good
But
times.
thank you for listening, guys. See you next time.